AppleTrack allows an applicant to do is upload stuff. We're going to talk about Teach Georgia, which is the other one that goes through PSC. You just fill out information on that particular application, but you can't upload a resume, you can't upload documents, okay? So AppleTrack gives you that ability, and it helps you out. So when you put together a packet, you can download reference forms, resumes, letters of interest, all that, off of that that AppleTrack information. So AppleTrack is what we have on the left side, and then Teach Georgia is kind of what that looks like on the right side. As far as view on the applicant side, a lot of times we try to walk through it from a teacher's perspective, because a lot of times Jackson, myself, we're on the other side, so you need to know what it looks like for somebody that's actually out there trying to fill it out and make sure that it's comfortable to do and not overwhelming. And,
I had a question from an applicant several weeks ago about a job posting, and so then at the principal's meeting to follow, I told them, I said, if you see me show up as an applicant, I'm not looking for this job, but I had to go in and actually create and walk through to be able to answer the question for the applicant, because I'm on the administrative side. So, but we do that so we can help those out when they ask that question.
Because we get principal questions, we get applicant questions, and we have to kind of go back and figure it out, because our view is different from, so we have to go about it from being actually a user. And we've got different people that are in the building. Miss Diane up front, and Valerie, myself, and Jackson are what we call super users. And so we have the ability to go in there and add users, look at content, choose the different type of questions and things that are actually on that application. And we use a general format with that so that pretty much everybody gets the same type of questions.
Does Judy have a question?
Yeah, is this what you view, or is this what?
This is what the applicant would view. So this, if
Okay.
you go to our website and click on employment, then that AppleTrack page pops up. Valerie's gonna take you there. On the other one, you actually, on Teach Georgia, you have to go to their website.
It's
I
always
would
right
think
here.
we'd have to do all that, but I just wondered if the frame that we would see in what.
That's what the applicant would see.
This is what the applicant sees. And then they actually make an account, and then they can go in there. We actually have people, you just click right here where it says apply.
And you go ahead and fill it out, and once you fill it out, you can divvy it out to different positions throughout the state, and whoever's on AppleTrack. And I would say, I don't know of anybody that's not using AppleTrack right now in the state of Georgia, so that helps. When we went to that was how many years ago?
2010, 2011.
So somebody just goes into AppleTrack, makes an account, and applies for jobs?
You can, and then the account will stay active for us for about 3 years. We send you automated emails asking you, do you still want your account to remain active with us? And then you also have the option later to apply. For instance, let's say you hold elementary school certification, but you also want to apply for a middle school position because you hold that cert too. It's just as easy as clicking on, I want to add that application to that job. Let's open.
Now, the negative part of AppleTrack is that anybody really can apply for any position. You gotta go in there and dig it out to see that Mike's not certified for math because I could apply for that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So even though you get more information in AppleTrack, you might get a lot of different type people that are applying that might not have the specific things they need for a specific position. And
But
Teach
you can-
Georgia,
You can go in there and put filters, as you look at it as an administrator, you put filters.
yes ma'am.
Okay.
You can filter for different things, experience, certification level, it's probably about 12 different things you can filter for. Now, this is Teach Georgia, and typically, we still do Teach Georgia because it is still through the state says that we should post all teacher and paraprofessional jobs or certificated jobs through this website. The good part about this one is, on the side that the user uses, it is not, it's just a basic application. And you have to type everything in, you can't upload anything, that's why a lot of people don't like it. But the good thing about it for principals and for Jackson and myself is that whenever I click on a name that's applied in there, so Greg's applied, I can click on Greg and it ties specifically to the Professional Standards Commission to show me exactly what your certificate is, if you have one. if there are any holes on the certificate, if there's anything with you've got a problem with like a suspension or something, it will show up. And that's why I always tell the principals they have to send that in, because that makes them look at that certification.
You say
And-
suspensions, you talking about suspensions on certification or something? or-
Yeah, so sometimes like an educator that's
That's fine.
certificated, may have something.
We're not talking about conduct, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I mean, it could
Can
be,
be.
it could be conduct, it
It
could
could
be
be
a
an
number
ethics
of things.
violation. it could
Test
be-
violations,
All right.
there are those 10 code of ethics things
Got
that PSC looks at, and if they can go anywhere from just investigating, not doing anything, they can suspend the license. We've seen that for up to 2 weeks to a year, and then they can revoke, so they can take it away based on what that person did. So that's why this one to me is very important, because it has that information.
One of the,
And
I
the
mean, one
latest
of the things we
information.
do is cross-check to make sure that the certificate is valid or is not fixing to expire. You get a lot of folks that, for whatever reason, maybe they're not postured to renew in their current job, and so they will come to us and say, well, now I need all the POUs to, you know, or not POUs, what do we call them today?
CU credits.
Professional learning,
Yeah.
plan.
They don't accrue anymore, but.
So we, you know, we usually try to make sure if somebody's coming to us with a June 30th expiration, they renew with their former system before they
Yeah,
get.
we get that a lot, so we
Yeah.
get them, and so
Then we have
June
to-
30th, you have to recertify by June 30th, so we get them, you know, they don't start with us until like July or August. So Jackson's sitting there, we're trying to rush and figure out these dates to get them uploaded so they can get a certificate. That happens about 5, every year we have about 5 that we have to chase with that.
And also with folks that are graduating in May, it helps us track the progress of certification too. If they're gonna have an induction, or if they, you know, everybody's gonna start with a clearance, they'll have what's called a pre-service certificate, meaning they're student teaching. So, you know, certain things
And I
that
can't
happen to
speak
get
to,
that, and then you move to a full certification.
I don't want to speak to every system, because I used to go to the meets that Jackson goes to now, but we were one of a lot of systems don't renew certificates for their employees, because they have so many, and it just takes so much time to do. We typically do that, because my thing is, it's easy just to go ahead and wrap your hands around it and do it, so that you don't get in June 30th of July, where you don't have folks that are certified. So we do that. Jackson works with Cindy Rowland, she's in the main office, and we have to upload for every, you can imagine if we've got probably 320 certified employees, 1/5 of those we have to do every year. So we do that for the employees so that we keep everybody certified and where they need to be.
We still have to touch that application because you have to verify employment.
Yeah.
So we would still have to touch it, it's just easier for us to drive that.
Yeah.
So everybody who expires June 30th, with the exception of a handful of induction certificates, they're already renewed. They already have their 5 years out.
And you have to renew
All
it
been
within
done.
6 months of when it ends. So you can't go in there like on the second year and you have to wait. And that's another thing that bogs us down sometimes too. All right, screening candidates. So you got people that have applied in Applicant and teach Georgia. So what now what? So principals have access to that information, and they're going to go through, depending on the number of people that they have applied, they're going to go through and look for, because if you got, you know, if you got 50 applicants for something, it's not feasible to interview 50 people. Now, if you got like 2 or 3 for some of these positions, you may can just go ahead and interview everybody, and you don't really worry about screening, because, and a lot of times, quite frankly, for some of our contents that we're dealing with, that's the case. But typically, if you get that, you're going to look at these factors. Experience, the certifications that somebody has. We're looking a lot closer at things like gifted certification. It helps us out with funding and providing services for our children, so that gifted children, whether they go to Hubbard or not, on those days that they go, are getting what they need every day. And so we have a lot of people that have those certifications. We have special needs certifications that are very important throughout our district, that we have to serve kids that have special needs. And we probably have, I think we're between 12 and 13% of the 4,032 today that we have a special need. And so we have to provide, based on those IEPs, we have to provide teachers that have the certifications in those different grade levels to provide based on those segments that were determined by an IEP, which is their little plan that every kid has to do that. So we're looking at things like that, because some things one thing that, You know, we have a waiver, and I'm telling you, I'm going back, I'm kind of changing gears here. Y'all remember the strategic waiver that we had that basically allowed us to waive certain certifications? Well, the one that the feds do not allow us to waive, a lot of times they've taken their hands out of the pot a lot, but one that they don't allow us to, we can't waive is special education. So we have to have a special education teacher in there. If not, we have a finding and we can lose money. You know, we get probably, what it's about $850,000 per year that comes to the federal government to provide money for our special needs children based on who we have. And so if you don't put qualified people in there, you may not get the funding for it. Now, the other things that we deal with, you know, we cannot have certified people in there. But the thing is, my thought is, why would you not do that when you can try to find somebody certified and make sure you try to get the best person in front of the kids? You know, you try to do the best you can do with that. But you have a wide range of, you know, and Governor Kemp with the raises that have been proposed and approved at the state level is trying to help some of this, because we have a huge problem with a lot of people leaving the education arena within the first 5 years, and it's everywhere. I mean, it's everywhere. And trying to engage them through whether it's money, you know, culture, just enjoying the job. That's a big part of it with our young people that we're hiring now. So we're always looking for different things. This is a biggie too. We have a lot of things to be involved with, whether it's clubs, athletics, robotics, hydroponics, and we need people to lead these teams that we're doing really good in our district with, but it takes people. And so a lot of times we're looking at specific people that might want to be a robotics coach, or they might want to be help with C-team baseball, or they would help with football. We're always looking for that, because if not, then we're really searching in the community trying to find help.
Is
It's hard to find.
there any compensation for when they do the extracurricular things?
Yes, in some capacities, yes. From sports we do, we've added robotics. Yeah, we did this 2 years ago. We just felt like we needed to do that. We're competing in a very high
Like the
level.
clubs or any of that, or?
Not clubs, we hadn't gotten there, because we actually do clubs. This is something that we're proud that we're doing. We've moved clubs all the way from high school to middle school. We actually have clubs in elementary now. So typically, we expect those clubs to do. Now, most of the time in early, you know, when in elementary and middle, they're not as time consuming as they would be at the high school level. So you have to look at that and see what commitment of time that it takes. And then we try to make sure that if they're doing above and beyond, that we can provide a stipend or some type of compensation.
Say at the elementary and even middle, a lot of those are embedded in the school day anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually someone's
But
on it.
at the high schools, when you get into the.
We added a stipend for the school plays, because they do a lot of extra, I don't know if y'all pay attention, but a lot of times you'll see cards and stuff over there. A lot of times it's our teachers, drama teachers working after hours to get the plays ready. So we provided that for them, but we've grown that over time. And so, you know, and the more you can compensate for that, the more people will want to do that.
Right.
So we're trying to be competitive, and being fair with that, but it is important, and I think this speaks a lot about engagement. You were talking about, somebody said something about engagement. Sometimes kids might not love math, they're good at it, but they love playing soccer. And they may want to just be in school, they live for soccer. Well, we want to engage that. We want to be for that. Now, we'll get you taught academically, because that's what we believe in, but the kids, they love soccer, we're going to take advantage of that. So that's why it's important.
Most sought after applicants right now is somebody with a special ed background who's also coach. I mean, they can pretty well.
You can
name their
name your
place.
job. Absolutely, absolutely.
I think a lot of studies show that how much better a student is if they're involved in extracurricular activities.
Absolutely. And we try to do that. We've grown that, and we almost to a point where we have so many teams, it's hard to find enough people for. That's why we have a few lay coaches. We have some lay coaches for golf, which when I say lay coach is a community coach for golf. We have we had a couple for baseball. And soccer. And so we're always looking for coaches, but you know, I'm not, as superintendent, I'm never gonna, academics leads for Mike. So, I mean, you gotta be able to teach first, and then we get to the other pieces, because if you don't, we're gonna lose our edge academically. If that makes sense. Interviews are scheduled with building level committees. So typically, let the school decide that, but we've just always encouraged to have more than one person. The more people you have to help make a decision, a lot of times it's a better decision. That's why I lean on a lot of people when I'm making decisions, because you just need that help. So we do that with committees. Typically, we'll have 4 to 6 candidates for each position. Our committees at each building could be, sometimes it may be 2, sometimes it could be 4, and sometimes for big positions, it could be 7 or 8. I know for when Alicia was hired, I think we had like 8 people on there. This just depends on the job, and typically you want to get a lot of people on that committee that can give you good feedback. Typically that would be administrators, teachers, parents. Sometimes we try to involve the community, especially in situations like if it fits, like for fine arts, for instance. For a lot of our positions, we try to include people that know a lot about fine arts in the community, because they're probably going to be working with people.
When we hired transportation director, we had a principal from one grade level, an assistant principal from another grade level.
Mhm.
We had a bus driver, we had someone from the shop, and then central office representation. And so that was how we hired transportation.
So we try to do that, and try to do the best we can to interview, and by the time we've done that, we choose the best person. Now, does that always mean that person that we choose is going to be best fit? We try, but sometimes they just don't fit in the culture for whatever reason, and we want to cut down that percentage, because the more times you miss, you've wasted a lot of money, because you put a lot into professional learning, onboarding that we're going to talk about, the money that we spend for TIP, best practice training, assessment for learning. We spend a lot of money to try to get people acclimated to stay here, and if we lose them, we've lost an investment. It's a lot of money, so it's important. Screening candidates, we have to ensure that proper certification is held by the candidate. And again, we can waive that, but we try to stay within the certifications, because I feel like we're going to have a better teaching pool and certification pool if we stay certified. There's some